Now talking hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyElbow.com, and things are already screwing up on us already. Eugene S. Robinson is here with me, I think. Can you hear me, Eugene? And maybe kind of
Yes.
sort of. Yes.
Yeah, it's like you're underwater.
Great. So the internet gods are
How's
in a
that?
cruel mood today. Can you hear me better now? This is going to
I
be
can hear you
brutal.
better now.
Okay, good. Excellent. I like, is that a camo t-shirt? And there's
It
a
is.
vicious.
Every time somebody sees the shows, they send me T-shirts because they
How come
expect
they send
that
you t-shirts?
off.
Where's my t-shirts? Look at this rag I'm wearing.
It's the same rag you were wearing earlier in the week, so they should send you shirts.
And this
Because
is, I think, a slightly different color red than the one I was wearing earlier this week. I've
you've
got
got
dozens.
you've got several rags of that schmadas, we call them, right?
Yes,
Schmadas.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
In Yiddish, rag. There you go. Never say you didn't learn anything on Bloody Elbow. So.
We are here to educate. That's our mission. And today, our mission is the Care Don't Care preview, the infamous and patented Care Don't Care preview for UFC Fight Night Dublin, also known as UFC Fight Night McGregor versus Brandao, also known as UFC Fight Night 46, I believe, although some insist on calling it UFC Fight Night 47. Eugene, overall care level for this event?
My overall care level is extremely low.
Extremely low. So you're not buying the Conor McGregor hype?
No, I'm not. I'm not. You know what? They got diverted. And it was like they were sort of Conor McGregor was sort of saying and then like all this other stuff happened. Chael interfered. There was this whole the kerfuffle about the Baganatov with the EPO. I mean, there've been a lot of things that kind of divert your attention, and this is just kind of snuck in there. Second one this week. I don't. It's this really. Everybody on this card has been poorly served.
Yeah, I think so as well. Although I am impressed at how much attention McGregor is managing to get. I mean, he's getting more attention and more hype for this fight online than they got for the Cerrone Miller fight, which aired on American cable TV. So that's kind of impressive. And he's been on the BBC, Eugene, the BBC.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that the BBC will have just about anybody on. So just because it has British in it doesn't mean anything.
They've been
what?
pretty stingy with the BBC airtime for UFC fighters. Have you done some BBC time? Is that what you're about to tell us?
No. I was just going to say that you could poop in your hat and they would put you on BBC.
Well, maybe we'll throw that down as a challenge, Eugene. Next time you're in the UK, poop in your hat and see if that gets you on the BBC.
No. I mean, this is you want my pick for the biggest news this week?
Sure. And the connectivity issues are continuing to dog and hound us. Eugene seems to have frozen, but I will keep plunging ahead. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the media McGregor is getting, and even if Eugene is not, Eugene's got a more cynical take on things. I don't get why Conor McGregor. There
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now. Can you talk?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're unfrozen.
Yeah. Okay, good. You were frozen and I couldn't hear you either. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All is
yeah. To me, I was saying the biggest thing. I was saying the biggest thing this week was Dana White and Mayweather, which I can't believe either one of them let themselves get drawn into. But I guess with Mayweather, it diverts from the domestic abuse thing or the club fight thing. And with Dana, I don't know what he's trying to divert from, but this was the stupidest thing ever this week.
You're talking about the Dana White's habitual habit of saying that Ronda Rousey could beat up Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather. I thought Mayweather's response was pretty classic. I don't know who he is when asked about Ronda Rousey. But of course, you see Fight Hub had an interview with Mayweather yesterday where now that she's won an ESPY award, he knows who she is. So, and he also explained that he doesn't watch boxing or combat sports. He just watches normal sports like basketball and football. And when he needs to hear about a boxer, his people tell him. And so his people hadn't told him about Ronda yet until the ESPY Awards. And at that point, then they deemed to tell her. But he didn't address the notion of fighting Ronda, because I can see where if I was Mayweather's attorney, I would be like, do not touch this notion of fighting a woman, because he's got like a 6-0 undefeated record in beating women. I mean, he's been charged.
Him and Jason Mayhem Miller, man, those guys are the top 10 division leaders apparently.
Well, Mayhem, I believe, has only been criminally charged twice, maybe once, but Mayweather's got at least 4 that I can think of off the top of my head. Deadspin has a big article today rehashing the whole thing, and it's pretty ugly. And of course, he threw a blow at Lil Wayne, which some would say is foul play. I mean, I don't think I think a grown man throwing a punch at Lil Wayne is below the belt. What do you think, Eugene? Is that off limits?
Well, that's where he is, below the belt. Based on what I've understood about his height. But I remember once interviewing it was either Peter North or Mr. Marcus, male porn stars, and I was like, when you look back, I don't. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I never watch my stuff. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, why would I watch it? And I was like, that was like a Socrates moment for me. I was like, he's right. Why would you watch it? You were there.
So you were imagining like Peter North going back and watching his old spew movies? Well,
but the thing is, it must have been Mr. Marcus, because I had talked to somebody who was in a film with Mr. Marcus, and she said as they were filming, she looked up at him, they're in the middle of filming. She looked up at him, and his eyes were focused on something across the room. So she looks across the room and sees a mirror. And then she looks at his eyes again and sees, he's looking at himself in the mirror.
Hey,
she's like, hey, I'm the sexy girl who's hired here. I'm down here. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. So,
I wouldn't interfere with a professional like Mr. Marcus. It takes a lot of concentration to do that sort of work, I'm told.
Right.
If that's what it takes for him to do to keep his concentration and his focus, hey, who am I to judge? But why would you?
He made a video called "The Luckiest Black Man in America," in which he screwed like 110 women in the video. And I said, how long did that take? He said, about 3 days. And I go, how did you feel afterward? He was tired.
I would think chafed would be, like...
Well, it was clever. It was the mix. It was like, how often was he dropping his load? He actually, in actual fact, only dropped his load about 13 times. So, and I was like, I broke the veil of journalist. I was like, 13 times in 3 days, I could do that.
With or without TRT, Eugene?
Yeah, without, man. Come on.
Even at age 50? Wow, that's a pretty bold claim, Eugene. I'm not going to challenge you to prove that. But let us toddle on to the case fighting.
It might make the show very uncomfortable.
Yes. All right, so we've got our general thoughts on the cards. You're giving it a don't care. I'm giving it kind of a care, just because I'm kind of buying the Conor McGregor hype, even though
I really like McGregor, man. But this is about marketing efforts behind the fight. That's what we say in our preamble.
This
has just been a really terrible lead up, for it. So.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bubble. I'm in the MMA media bubble, and so I've seen more coverage of McGregor in this fight than I did for Cerrone versus Miller, which got basically buried. And it's a shame, because that ended up being a brilliant fight card. That was one of the best fight cards of the year. Yep. And this one I'm not as optimistic about. But let's jump into the fights.
Of course, just lest we be accused of ducking, it should be noted that all of my picks were on, with the exception of going for Miller on this one. And of course, he did what he does to me so well. He knifed me in the back.
Have you promoted him to Gicta yet?
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
He's too All-American to be a Gicta, isn't he? Is that what it is?
He's just a sentimental fave. He's just a really effective Lucy Van Pelt. Come on, Eugene. Come on, kick the. I promise I won't yank the football out of the way again.
And
it would have been a perfect night. It would have been a perfect night for me otherwise.
A perfect night, like every pick would have been correct.
Yeah.
This
pick I can get on the show, Go back and look. Every pick I made was dead on. So, except for, of course, the last one that
Well, the
mattered.
crew on our Vivid section, they got smoked, Zane and Dallas. So there might be something to this.
There you go, everybody. There you go. Right guys got smoked. Yeah. I'm
I'm
like a
not going to
little old
say
lady.
idiot savant, but I did just say idiot savant. So
Oh,
there you go. All right, so let's get into this one. Flyweights, Patrick Holohan versus Josh Sampo.
man, you're robot sizing. I heard Patrick, and then they went. Bleh.
Holohan, Patrick Holohan, and Josh Sampo.
Do not
You make
care.
that? Do not care. I don't care either. All right, light heavyweights, Cody Donovan and Nikita Krylov.
Yeah, I care
Because of?
because of Fedora.
Because of Krylov, yes. Al Capone, I care too. I don't care about Cody Donovan, but I definitely care about Krylov. People are
Don't
howling for
call
his
me
head.
Scarface. I'm sorry, I had to go back to Prince Buster for that. You know,
Indeed,
one of
indeed.
the
That's
originators of ska music. So,
yes. And a reference to the original Al Capone, who did have these massive scars on his face, and he did not care to be called Scarface. But
yeah.
Krylov doesn't have any scars on his face, but he does have people howling for him to be cut from the UFC. I don't know why he
Why?
is such a fan
Why?
unfavorite. People are
Howling.
howling. Our Bloody Elbows own Rainer Lee put him in the cut list at the top. He was even in the teaser for the post at the top of the cut list. He's 1-2 in the UFC with one TKO win over Walt Harris, but then he lost to OSP and he lost to Soa Paleli at heavyweight. I like Krylov, and I even like his chances in this fight. So we'll see. And I do not care.
I like him. I like his chances in this fight. And howling, man, that's kind of an aggressive. I mean, maybe it's just comparatively speaking to the other Russians, or maybe it's just the division that he's cooled on him. But how old's the kid? Was he 19 or 20?
He's
I like
22
him.
or something.
22. I mean, yeah, this is development team guy. You know, I mean, can you honestly look at him and say, I don't see this guy doing anything in that division in the next 5 years? If so, then yes, he should be cut. But I'm not saying that. I don't see that. And if you're saying there are more deserving people coming up behind him, I will say who.
Yeah, and then Cody Donovan is 33 years old. He's lost his last 2 UFC fights. He's 1-2 in the UFC. I don't see any reason. He's maybe more athletic than Krylov, but I like Krylov's karate style, so I'm going to pick Krylov.
However, they do have one thing right. That if Krylov loses this fight, he's probably gone.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
I'm not saying he should be gone. I'm saying if he loses, he's going to be gone.
Yeah, it seems quite likely, and the same for Donovan, the loser of that one. This is definitely the bottom tier of the UFC, the light heavyweight division. That takes us to middleweights.
So these guys should fight like their hair is on fire, which would be
One would hope. It'll be early evening Dublin time. It'll be early morning for those of us in America. I keep wanting to make the doubly joke from Spinal Tap, when.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we'll just leave that be. Middleweights: Thor Tronig and Trevor Smith. What do you think of that?
I think because of Trevor Smith that I pay attention, that I actually care.
Really, more so than Thor, because he's like his name's Thor, but it's spelled Tor.
Yeah, well, Tor is funny because then if you're talking about like Teutonic languages, it actually gets very close to Tur, which is Tur. Tor means door. So I'm not really quite sure what's going on there with that. So I'm not going to give the H makes all the difference in the world. I mean, if they had meant Thor, they would have said Thor, but I'm thinking it comes from Detour.
But they pronounce it Thor on the broadcast, or did I imagine that?
Yeah, because they're dummies.
Quite possibly. But I kind of like Thor because he was heavily hyped. People thought he was on the same season of Ultimate Fighter as Uriah Hall, and people initially. Can you hear me now?
Hey man,
can you hear me now?
Hello.
All right. Now you can hear me.
I'm going to assume that it is your internet.
I'm blaming your internet. You can hear me now. Okay, good. Anyway.
Well, I see your internet. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
All right. So Thor Tronig, I kind of care about him because he was originally hyped, or he was originally suspected to be the bad man. When we heard rumors that there was somebody really ferocious on the Uriah Hall season of Ultimate Fighter, some people thought it was Thor Tronig, but it turned out not to be. So There it is. And why is it that you care about Trevor Smith?
This I don't know. I mean, we're talking about how marketing has pierced the veil of our consciousness. Why is Trevor Smith sound familiar to me? You're sitting in front of the internet there. Tell me.
I see Trevor Smith. Let's see. I'm pulling up his Wikipedia now, and the internets are slow, Eugene. There it is.
It is your internet.
No. I knew you were going to jump on that. I knew it as soon as I said that. My internet is blazing lightning fast. He lost to Talis Lates by TKO. He's old Strikeforce guy where he lost to Tim Kennedy by submission.
There you go. That's it. It was a Strikeforce connection. So.
And then he took Ed Herman to a split decision and lost. Beat Brian Houston by a split decision. Man, that is bottom of the barrel because Brian Houston is one of the absolute weakest UFC fighters.
Yep. So, I remember him as well. I said some unkind things about Brian in a past show, and I got an email from his team. I think it was kind of amusing. But yeah, you know what? I've never had any fighter, with the exception of Brian the Fury Johnson, get angry enough to beat me.
What about Frank Shamrock? He wasn't angry, he was just showing off for a girl?
Yeah, he was just showing off for the girl photographer. He wasn't angry,
I see, it was ice cold.
Yeah, it's like when I told when I was going to go in to fight Ghetto Man. Joe Charles and Todd Hester, who used to be the editor-in-chief of Grappling Magazine, don't do this. I was like, what? He goes, don't do it, man. He hurts his training partners, all those guys, Bochanchin, Judo Gene, they're sadists. They hurt their training partners on the regular, and you are a total stranger and a journalist. You'd be unwise to do that if you expect to leave there walking okay. I was like, okay, you're right.
Well, I'm glad to hear you have some sense. Here's a question for you. Who's more touchy about criticism, porn performers or fighters?
I've never criticized a porn performer.
You've never? They're all. You feel like they're all putting it out there and nothing to bag on their performance. I mean, nobody.
Nah, because you know what? Porn performers. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
I can hear you.
Porn performers have a habit of. It's like, how many people insult drug dealers?
Drug dealers?
Insulting him, and there's a big upside to not insulting them. Huh?
So your argument is, you broke up a little bit there. You're saying that nobody insults drug dealers because there's no upside to it? And porn performers in the same category?
Yeah, there's no upside to it, and there's a big downside to it,
I see. Because you were in the industry, what was it they were providing you besides vicarious thrills, and would that really change if you provided
access.
I see. Eugene. Bitter.
I could be bought very easily with certain things.
I see.
Eugene, what about journalistic ethics? Journalistic ethics. Yeah.
So you were in on the fix. That's what you're saying. When you worked for Hustler, you were in on the fix with the porn industry. I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear it, Eugene.
I can hear nothing.
Well, I was just slandering your journalistic ethics from your tenure at Hustler.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but the thing is.
Keep talking. I can hear.
I got it. Well, it probably my slide began well before then. I think probably.
I said
my slide began well before then, probably.
Well before the Hustler days, but you've pulled out of that since. You've totally reformed and now strictly on the straight and narrow. Is that correct? Aussie readers can trust you're telling them square.
Oh, of course.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
As long as
I'm outside of wearing T-shirts that people send me who are hoping that the 2 seconds that the T-shirt's on the show is going to help their company. I'm straight and narrow.
All right. And I gotta say again, where's my T-shirt? I'm not that hard to find. Send me a T-shirt, people. I do more shows than Eugene. All right. So middleweights.
Yeah, that's another problem.
Overexposure of Kid Nate. Middleweights. Cathal Kindred and Mike King. Do you care?
I don't care.
You don't care? I kind of care just because Cathal Pendred is such a Gallic name. Like, talk about a Celt. Cathal Pendred. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There was an 80s movie, and I can't even remember the name, so I'm not even going to bring it up. But it was about some mopey Irish kid, and I watched it several times just because of the stupid Irish name, but the movie was boring and depressing, so we'll leave that one be.
Is he the one? Is he the one who danced? That dancing kid?
No,
Billy.
no.
No, that's not it. Billy.
No,
What
it
was
was
that one
like, it was
called?
called,
Billy Elliot.
yeah, it wasn't Billy Elliot. That was someone entertained. This was, I believe, called Cal or Kath, and it was just this mopey, po-faced, raincoat wearing, uptight kid. It came out on the time Quadrophenia came out, and I was
Oh.
hoping for similar thrills, but didn't get him.
No,
All right, so flyweights Neil Seery and Phil Harris.
Why does Phil Harris make me want to care?
Because Rousimar Palhares is sometimes called Paul Harris.
Mm.
That's the only thing I can think of. Phil Harris is a 31-year-old flyweight out of England.
No,
Had a
I
no
don't care.
contest.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got submitted by Louis Gaudinot, but Gaudinot failed a drug test, and so then he got knocked out by John Lineker, but he beat Ulysses Useless Gomez. So yeah. Neil Seery, I think, has a certain amount of hype for an Irish flyweight, but not a great deal. All right, that brings us to the final.
Wait, that's like saying he's got a certain amount of hype for a Bulgarian porn star.
Hey, I guess there aren't many Bulgarian porn stars, but there are quite a few.
Got you on that one.
Yes, you did. But there's a lot of Hungarian porn stars.
That's true. Which
I'll
is
say
completely different from Bulgarian.
Indeed. Are the Bulgarian ladies, any idea? Are the Bulgarian ladies like more Eastern European beauties, or are they
Yes.
like what?
Yes.
They are. Isn't that the wildest thing about the end of the Cold War? Because remember, during the Cold War, the U.S. media strictly told us that Russian women were ugly bags who wore giant, heavy coats all the time and looked like men. And then the Cold War ends.
That's still true about Russian women.
There's some beautiful Russian women.
Yeah,
Come
they're
on.
not Russians. They're not Russians.
Lies.
Okay. I don't want to burst your bubble with the Russian women thing, but all right.
Well, the Eastern European women are incredibly beautiful, and that was one of the great things about the end of the Cold War, was just this flood of discount-priced European beauties. Anyway, light heavyweights, Ilir Latifi versus Chris Dempsey. You'll remember Ilir because he fought Gegard Mousasi in a UFC headliner. Is this his second fight back since then, or is this his first?
No, it's his second, I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I kind of care about the guy. He's bullet-headed and mean.
Yep, and he's still round. You know.
Yes, he's bullet-headed and bullet-torsoed. He's got a nice roundness, but not a Michelin Man roundness. Let's see.
No. And he's got the great beard and the name.
Yeah, and he beat Cyril Diabate last time, so that was a good one. So we care about that.
Finally putting that one to bed, yeah.
Yes, retired the snake. All right, and that's the end of the 7-card UFC Fight Pass prelims, then the 4-card UFC Fight Pass main event, and these will all be on Saturday morning American time. You'll have to check your listings. I'm not going to be bothered. And the first one up on the main card, lightweights Norman Park versus Naoki Kotani.
Do not care.
You do not care, even though Kotani, storied fighter career goes back to 2000 AD, fought in rings, Pancrase, Zest. Remember Zest?
Did you say 2000 AD?
I did. I said 2000 AD. What was I supposed to say? 2000 BC?
It says 2000 AD. The Andromeda strain. Was there some confusion about where we were, Ty?
What millennium we were in? Man, I wake up every day wondering what millennium we're in, or hoping we're in a different one.
I'm gonna start doing that all the time now. Yeah, man. I remember back in 1999 AD.
I think the year 2000 AD, there's an exception for saying AD after 2000, just because it's such a momentous digit. Anyway, set of digits.
All right.
So you don't care about Norman Park or Naoki Kotani. I care about both those guys. I don't have a pick. I don't think Kotani's actually very good. I'm actually kind of baffled as to why they re-signed him.
Well, yeah, exactly. He got him away from the bingo table long enough to shuffle him out there, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know. He's fought once this year, and he's pulled off. He put together like a 13-fight win streak, but I still don't understand why he's not fighting on the Japanese card that's coming up soon. Yeah. Anyway, now we get to flyweights: Brad Picket and Ian McCall. Ian McCall, the Andy Dick of MMA.
Yep.
Do you have a pick?
Ian McCall is one of my faves from way back. He used to fight at the TPF, the Tachi Palace fights. So, and I don't know, man. Brad, I'm gonna go with Ian McCall.
I feel like Pickett is not the Brad Pickett we used to know.
No.
I feel like he's kind of a spent force.
Wait. So first of all, I care, and my pick is for Ian McCall.
All right, I care, and I too pick Ian McCall. But bigger question: would you party with Ian McCall?
I think I have.
You have, and you live to tell the tale, so that puts you.
No. I don't remember. I remember seeing him fight at Tachi Palace. So, but I would party with Ian McCall.
You would party with Ian McCall. I'm too cautious, Eugene. I would not take that chance. Would you party with Andy Dick?
Probably not, man. You know, it's like. I remember going back to the porn stars, partying with some porn stars, and it's always like time to arrest. You know, 7 minus 5 hours, time to arrest. You know, and at one point, one of the women had a fake eyelash is on her cheek. You know, and I gotta go. I gotta go to work tomorrow because I could see that this was going. You know, by the next morning. Everybody was arrested. You know?
That makes me think of Larry Miller's epic sketch, The 7 Stages of Tequila, and I think stage 6 is the devil yawns and says he has to go home, and something about and something about proposing marriage to a waitress who has stitches. But anyway, so that brings us to the co-main event: welterweights Gunnar Nelson and Zach Cummings. Gunnar Nelson, of course, the Icelandic phenom. I care. Eugene?
Oh man, I love his work with the Nelsons, man. That was just some phenomenal light metal. It's like you're the only person listening who understood what I just said.
I'm the only one old enough to remember the Nelsons and their indelible mark on pop culture. And you can Donna Shalala me, but I've told the story about my buddy who was tall and had long blonde hair. We made fun of him for going to the Nelson concert, and for 18 months afterward, we'd see him with a hot chick and be like, Joe, man, where'd you meet that hot chick? Nelson, baby. And it's like, oh, that bastard. He just filled up his address book with girls' numbers at the Nelson show. Anyway, but Gunnar Nelson, karateka, jiu-jitsu master, undefeated, a lot of hype. And you're breaking up again.
I care, and you can't to me put his ass as close as as dogly possible, and just let one rip.
Popeye. I told you before when you were getting onto Popeye for drinking wine out of shot glasses on Facebook that he just doesn't know anything.
I'm having union troubles with this dog.
Union troubles.
Anyway, a pick. I gotta go with Gunnar.
Yeah, I do too. I don't even know why Cummings. It seems like they're feeding Cummings to Gunnar, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he's got 2 wins in the UFC, but they're over Yan Cabral and Ben Alloway. So I just don't see him hanging with Gunnar. I think it's a showcase fight for Gunnar. And I've been meaning to ask you ever read any of the Icelandic sagas, Njal's saga, Egil's saga, any of that stuff?
No.
Highly recommended if you like mayhem and intrigue. It's constant Vikings murdering each other and then filing lawsuits. And then the lawsuits are adjudicated frequently with resorts to axe fights in the middle of the lawsuits. It's very Dashiell Hammett. They never tell you. You never get in the inside of anybody's head. It's all strictly Gunner
Right.
did this, Gunner said that, Gunner did that. You never hear Gunner
Right.
was worried, or it's awesome. Anyway,
I
so
said,
we'll
send email me some titles. I'll go for it.
I
I'm
will I
I'm
will.
I'm, I'm really I have to tell you I'm really enjoying Bloodlands as well.
Isn't it awesome? Have you got to the Derlevanger Battalion parts yet?
No, I have not.
Oh man, this guy is the worst,
Yes,
most
I know.
loathsome Nazi. You
Yeah,
will love it.
I knew about him prior to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so and yeah and Stalin has this great cat and mouse attitude. Like this guy had a sense of humor. Evil as the day is long, but he had a sense of humor. I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so a sick, evil, twisted sense of humor. All right, so Conor McGregor and Diego Brandao. You got to pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Brandao. How about that?
Really? Ooh, the big upset.
Yeah, because the thing is I'm queered on the whole enterprise because of the Miller Cerrone thing. You know, it never works out for a guy fighting in his hometown, man. He's worried about too many things. He's worried about that girl he tried to impress in high school. He's worried about his mother getting a seat. You know, he's worried about a million things other than the fight. Whereas the guy who comes in, the challenger is like, everybody hates me. I'm gonna take a crap in the middle of everybody's cake right now.
I think you're just saying which role you're more comfortable in, Eugene. I think.
You might be right.
Yeah, because I don't think Conor McGregor cares about anything except Conor McGregor, and I think that's why people like him so much, which is
All right,
perverse.
wait. I'm changing. I'm changing my pick.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's like I'm not to the betting window yet.
I see.
I haven't
I
taken my
see.
hand. I haven't taken my hand off the money. So yeah,
Well,
I've got to. You've convinced me. Damn, I got to work on my negotiating skills.
yeah, if I'm influencing you on your fight picks, you're probably pretty easily
Well,
swayed.
no, what you said that was completely believable is that he doesn't care about anybody. That only works for guys who care about people. It
Which
really
Jim
does.
Miller has
In
a lot
fact,
of.
correct. I think you
Like,
could reverse engineer this. Like if you see a guy, like if a guy fights in his hometown and he wins, you could rest assured that that guy doesn't care about anybody but him. you know, his mother probably was outside, not with a ticket. Had the wrong seat, was at the wrong arena. He's like, well, Ma, you could watch it on TV, whatever.
yeah, like the greats like Eminem and Dana White, that the only two guys that come to mind that I know that don't care about their mother enough to give them tickets. But we don't know about Conor McGregor and his mom, but we do get the feeling that he's cocky and confident. Although I still don't quite get what the fuss is about Conor McGregor. I mean, his fights haven't been that impressive. He's 2-0 in the UFC. The Marcus Brimage fight was,
Yeah,
pretty impressive, but the Holloway fight wasn't. He's been injured a lot, and he talks a lot. I don't really see.
yeah.
I mean, is he just a featherweight Michael Bisping, or is there more to it?
Man, you just stepped into it there. You
I know
just
the
stepped
Irish
into
are
it
gonna
there.
hate
A McGregor, a McGregor.
getting
Go ahead,
compared to
say it. I'll let
Bisping.
you say it.
Well, the Irish
Yeah,
don't want to be compared to the British. That's they don't like the British. They don't want nothing to do with the British. So that is probably the worst thing you could say to or about an Irishman, is
yeah,
to compare him to a Brit. I've told you my buddy's story about being in the army in Germany and partying with the British unit, and there was an obnoxious Scotsman and a obnoxious Southern. There was an obnoxious Scotsman in the British unit and an obnoxious Southerner in the American unit, and the Scotsman said to the Southerner something like, "Hurry up and finish your beer, Yank," and the Southerner slammed his sign on the table and was, "Don't call me Yankee, you limey cocksucker," and you don't call a Scotsman a limey any more than you call a Southerner a Yankee. So and the brawl
and,
erupted.
and
That's
what happened? What happened?
it was an army brawl, so guys
Oh, you
got
dropped
punched.
out. Fuck. Hey, tell what happened though.
They had a fist fight. They had a fist fight. It was an army brawl. Like nobody was killed or anything. It
I,
was
I
good,
I heard you
clean.
say it was the army something.
Yeah, it was just a
Yeah,
military brawl. The two units
yeah, yeah,
scrapped,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
good, clean fun ensued. That's what happened.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else to add about this so
Yeah,
Saturday morning card?
nope.
Nope. Nope.
Sorry.
Well,
I mean, it was one of those things where I looked at the time and I was like, you know what, I'm not getting up for that. So,
indeed.
yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thanks for doing the extra show, Eugene. Sorry about the connection problems, everybody. I'll be back with the 6th round after the Dublin card on Saturday afternoon. Then we'll be back for the whole. Eugene will have Knuckle Up on Monday, and we'll have the whole care, don't care, vivisection thing for the UFC on Fox. Lawler.
Face punching Monday.
Exactly, because we got Robbie Lawler versus Matt Brown coming up, and that one we care about. So
I will be on site for that one as well.
Ooh, that'll be fun. Well,
Yeah.
we look forward to hearing about your antics and misadventures cage side on that one. Where is that happening at?
San Jose.
San Jose. All right, at the SAP Center. You'll be there. All right. Well, we'll look forward to your cage side report, Eugene. And adios, everybody. Have a good weekend. This is Kid Nate. Give us a like on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at Kid Nate. And I forgot to mention, Eugene is the author of Fight, Everything You Ever Want to Know About Ass Kicking, but we're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking, on HarperCollins. Available on Amazon. Order it. Read it if you haven't. And adios, MMA aficionados. Thanks, Eugene.
All right, man.